Gabby Thomas sparked some controversy when she posted this on Instagram.
Doping coaches should be banned for life from coaching in the sport, whether you were banned while competing as an athlete or caught distributing as a coach. For some, both. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. If you train under a coach who is known for doping, once, twice, or even 3 times for some, you are complicit. That's my stance.
Many people believe this was directed towards Melissa Jefferson-Wooden and Sha'Carri Richardson's training group that is coached by Dennis Mitchell.
My name is Dennis Mitchell, and I am the head coach for Star Athletics track team. Some of my background in track and field is I'm a 3-time Olympian. I was in the 1988, 1992, and 96 Olympics. I have 3 Olympic medals, a gold, a silver, and a bronze. I'm also a 7-time world champion in both relays and 100 meters. I was ranked number 1 in the world in the 100 meters in 1994, and I went almost 16 years with being ranked in the top 10 in the world.
In 1998, Dennis was banned for 2 years after testing positive for excessive levels of testosterone. He claimed it was the result of 5 bottles of beer and sex with his wife at least 4 times the night before the test. Later, during another doping trial, Dennis admitted his coach had injected him with human growth hormone. So when Gabby said doping coaches should be banned for life, a lot of people immediately linked that to Dennis Mitchell and, by extension, to the athletes he coaches now. That's where Melissa's name came in. She's having the season of her life, running world-leading times in the 100 meters, and even recently beating Gabby in the 200 meters. But after Gabby's post, some fans began spreading rumors suggesting maybe Melissa's performances were too good to be true. That's when Masai Russell jumped in. She posted a video defending Melissa, saying the accusations had no basis.
I feel like in the track world, I'm super non-confrontational when it comes to like the media, my name being in drama, all the extra stuff. But, I've been seeing a couple people just speak on things that they don't really have any knowledge about, and that is with my girl Melissa Jefferson, and people trying to say, she doesn't look like she should be world-class sprinter, she's not strong, she doesn't have any power, the doping allegations. And I just want you guys to realize, when you make it up in your mind that you can do whatever you want to do, then you're gonna do it. So Melissa is someone that I consider a really good friend of mine. I respect her body of work, and we're both so young, and she has accomplished so many things at such a young age. She literally went pro early. So the fact that people don't understand why she's doing so great now, you do get stronger over time. The more experience you have on the circuit, you get better over time. And like I said, when you make it up in your mind that you want to be great, that you want to be exceptional, actually, because she was already great, that's when the change happens. I mean, she's an Olympic bronze medalist in the 100. She made the world team the year before that. She made the world final in Eugene, and I'm almost positive that was her first global team, and she made the final. First time making a USA team, fresh out of college. So I say all this to say, track is a dirty sport, and there are people who do break the rules. There are people that do dope. There are people that are not clean. But Melissa Jefferson is someone who clearly has put the work in, who's clearly made up in her mind that she wants to be great, and clearly is one of the best female sprinters ever, as we can see. So just because someone doesn't look like the typical 100-meter runner, 100-meter build, that doesn't mean anything, because like I said, once it clicks up here, there's nothing that anyone could stop you from doing. And I also forgot to add, when it comes to drug testing, they play no games with us. They're testing you off the plane, when you come home, in the morning, at night. They're coming whenever they want to come. I wouldn't say it's not possible, because people have done it and people do it, and people probably are currently doing it. But all I know is that it takes a lot more to cheat than to just be clean, bust your ass, work hard, and believe in yourself. So, I just had to say that because I can't stand to see people who I know put the work in and who I know personally. I just can't let certain things slide. Like I said, I keep my name out of a lot of things. I don't speak on a lot of things, but when it comes to this, sorry.
People started digging up Gabby Thomas's own history. Back in 2020, she was provisionally suspended after allegedly missing 3 anti-doping tests in a year. The suspension was lifted a month later when she proved one of those tests wasn't valid, using things like phone tracking data and witness testimony.
Hey guys, so I want to address the whereabouts situation that happened 6 years ago because it's been coming up, and I understand that people have a lot of questions and don't really know what happened. So I want to take the opportunity to answer those questions, and hopefully young athletes can learn from what I'm about to share, because I know that it would have helped me a lot back then. I was never banned. I never committed any type of anti-doping violation. Once I decided to speak out for myself, everything was cleared up. For those who don't know, when you reach a certain level in track and field, you are immediately put into a testing pool. It doesn't matter if you're in college, if you're a pro, if you just run for fun. If you're competing and you are fast enough, you get put into this testing pool. There are actually 2 testing pools that you can be put into. There is a United States anti-doping testing pool, and there is the World Athletics anti-doping testing pool. And the World Athletics testing pool definitely tends to be a bit more strict, I would say. And what I mean by that is, when you're in these testing pools, you aren't just subject to drug testing. You actually have to upload your whereabouts into an app every single day. From 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., your whereabouts have to be accounted for. They need to know where you're sleeping, where you're living, where you're eating, where you go to class, where you're training, where any activities that you do. It needs to be put into this app daily. And not just daily, it needs to be put into the app as soon as you know. Like if you know that you're going to take a trip to Vegas with your friends, you need to put it in as soon as you know, or else that could be a whereabouts failure. And this is really important because in anti-doping, the element of surprise is huge. You can't know when you're about to be drug tested because that defeats the whole point. So they need to be able to surprise you and show up. They need to be able to show up in class. They need to be able to show up at a restaurant with your friends. They need to show up at a house while you're sleeping, essentially. So when I was a junior in college, I had a really good year and I was put into this testing pool. I got an email saying that I needed to put my whereabouts in, and I had no idea what that email was. I didn't have an agent. I asked my coach and my teammates, but they did not know what it was because we're not involved in professional track and field. So I thought it was scam. I eventually did come around to putting my whereabouts in because I kept getting reminders. So I put my Harvard dorm, which is where I was living, and my practice schedule into this app. I also think it's really important to point out that I didn't ever imagine myself going pro, and I didn't really go to a track school. So my understanding of what it meant to be pro is very different than what people might assume. Over the course of the next year, from my junior year to senior year, I'm not sure how many times I was tested, but basically this DCO named Danielle would show up from time to time, and I would do a drug test in front of her and go about my day, and it was cool. One time, it was about 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., something like that. I went to go see a movie with my friends. Danielle showed up at my Harvard dorm and sat there and then called me and let me know that she was waiting to drug test me. I said, okay, I'm coming, and left the movie theater, went to the Harvard dorm to go take the drug test, and she was gone. She said something about she can't wait longer than 10 minutes to take the test, but the rules say that they have to wait at the designated location that they go to for an hour for the athlete to show up because, duh, like what if I had to go to the bathroom, or what if I went to go grab something to eat? Like, at any rate, she was gone and she counted that as a missed test. I thought nothing of it. I didn't dispute it. I didn't realize how serious this anti-doping stuff in track and field was, so I just let it be. And I just had one missed test and I didn't really care. The next time she came to test me, I was staying in my Harvard dorm again, and I went to get food with my friends on campus at this Thai restaurant, and Danielle comes to test me. This time, she did not give me a phone call. She just waited at the door. I wasn't there, but she did proceed to go to my Instagram story and screenshot the fact that I was at a Thai restaurant and submit that to World Athletics to tell them that I was not at home where I should be. that I was at a restaurant half a mile away. So instead of coming to test me at the restaurant that she knew that I was at because it was on my Instagram story and I tagged the place, she decided to screenshot that and give me a missed test instead of coming to test me. So a few weeks later, I get notified that that's my second missed test. Again, I think nothing of it. I'm thinking, oh, I missed a test. Dang it, I'll get the next one. But I definitely was not thinking, oh, they're about to ban me. Third missed test was I was actually at Yale at my boyfriend's dorm. The tester comes really early in the morning, so I'm asleep. And because it's a dorm, they can't come up. They have to be let in. So he was downstairs at the first initial door knocking. Obviously, I can't hear him. Nobody can hear him. So he just calls it a missed test, and that's it. Again, missed it. Didn't think much of it. I thought, I'll be tested again later. And I think ultimately for me, the reason why I didn't dispute these initial missed tests was because I didn't realize how serious anti-doping was in track and field. I didn't realize our sport had such a drug problem. I didn't realize the history of the drug problems in our sport. I didn't realize that anti-doping was something that I should be taking seriously because I was so focused on my senior trip vacation and graduating and getting my master's and all this. I just wasn't really thinking about my career the way I should have at that time. I didn't have an agent who told me about what was going on. But that being said, I definitely should have taken all of this more seriously. I think I was just, I just couldn't believe that something bad would happen to me. You know, I was so young and I felt invincible, and I look back and I think, wow, that's crazy. Obviously, you'll get in trouble if you don't follow the rules, but I just wasn't thinking that at the time. I was thinking, oh, everything's gonna work out. So I get an email, they notify me, they say you have 3 missed tests, oh, you're gonna be provisionally suspended. And that's when I'm like, hold on, no, I don't. And so I had to get a lawyer and everything. These people take months to respond. The correspondence just goes on forever because they don't care. And essentially I had to go test by test and kind of prove that I didn't deserve these missed tests. So I just did the first one. The first one was clearly the doping control officer's fault because I was at the movie theater and I came back to take the test and she left. She broke the rules. And after that, we just left it at that. I was like, okay, that's 1 missed test. I'm not going to hire my lawyer to dispute the next 2 missed tests as well because lawyers are very expensive. And I was basically guilty until proven innocent in this situation. So once I was cleared of the first missed test, I just let it go and I was happy to go compete. Honestly, at the time, I had never even made a US team, so nobody really cared that I was going through all of this. People are just now bringing it up, I think, because I have a gold medal. But I digress. I've never skipped a drug test. I have not missed a drug test in 6 years. Since I have left Cambridge and moved to Texas, I have not missed a single drug test. It doesn't matter where I am, what city I'm in, if I'm out at a club, it doesn't matter. I've never missed one. And now that I understand the context of the sport that I'm in, if I understand the history, I take anti-doping very seriously. I think it is incredibly important that we do comply with the whereabouts system. Do I have critiques of the whereabouts system? Absolutely. But I understand its purpose in protecting clean sport, and it's meant to protect athletes. I definitely regret how I treated the whole whereabouts anti-doping process, and I learned a lot from that. I do think it's really unfortunate that my mistakes have to be public. So you live and you learn. Now there are definitely educational seminars in place so that athletes aren't put in that situation. Now we get email reminders weekly to do our whereabouts. So there's been a lot in place to help guide and support athletes so they don't end up dealing and going through what I went through. And I know this was a super long video, but it was really important for me to get all the details out there. And if anyone has any more questions about it, I am always happy to answer them. I know that this video might not be enough to appease all of the critics out there, and I know that it's the internet, so people have their own opinions, but it was really important for me to just clarify and hopefully help prevent this from happening to anyone else. If someone else doesn't make the same stupid mistakes that I did, then that's what this is for. So thanks for listening, and yeah, happy to answer any questions.